Hi, I'm Christy Cannon. Welcome to the process and installation video for the Children's Treehouse mural I designed and painted at Twin Cedars of Columbus. It was such an honor and a privilege to work on this project, and I would like to start by saying thank you to the West Georgia chapter of the Police Benevolent Association of Georgia for commissioning and donating this mural. I'm so grateful to contribute in this small way to the incredible work everyone here does to serve the children of our community. The Children's Treehouse serves child victims and witnesses and facilitates investigative, prosecuting, social services, medical, and mental health services. Additionally, trauma-focused counseling is provided for all victims and/or non-offending caregivers. All of these crucial services are provided at no cost to the victim and their families in a child-friendly environment. If you'd like to know more about the Children's Treehouse and how you can support them, please visit their website at twincedars.org or scroll to the link at the bottom of my video. This room is where the children and their families spend most of their time here. When we first began talking about this project, one of the things at the front of my mind was the goal of creating a soothing and uplifting space, something that improved the environment and provided a bit of an escape for those who were spending time here. In our initial meeting, we discussed a treehouse with a large tree and strong roots. There was also a request to include a blue ribbon in honor of child abuse victims. I wanted to really represent the identity of the advocacy center within the piece. I worked in some large cedar trees and pears in the background, and I chose to include 3 tree houses since there are 3 Twin Cedars and Children's Treehouse child advocacy centers that serve the Chattahoochee River Valley. I wanted to use the whole space so that when you're in the space, you're actually kind of immersed in an environment. The center of the room is the center of the river, and you're looking at a network of tree houses over the Chattahoochee River Valley. And on one end, you have an excerpt from Maya Angelou, and on the other end, you have a rainbow. And the piece is symbolic of this transitional space that is, really supposed to be for healing and to provide hope. And I wanted to make something that was enjoyable and pretty, but also honored the incredible work that all of these people do to serve the most vulnerable members of our community. This project was special just by nature of what it is, but I will say it's also really special because the clients gave me full creative liberty with the look of the painting and really with the process too. They were familiar with my work, and so the method I used is not a direct painting application process. It's a bit special. I wanted to capture the luminous glow of sunlight on a fresh morning, and I painted this in a similar technique to how I paint my smaller works, which are, kind of a mock imprimatura underpainting followed by layers of color glazed on top. And I started this mural by drawing everything out in a white chalk, and I used white charcoal pencils for the areas where I need a little bit more detail. I like this. It lets me wipe everything off later with a damp sponge, and when I paint over it, I find that the chalk just disappears within the paintings. For the outlines, I chose Prussian blue because the blue for the ribbon was kind of the main reason, but also because I didn't want to go with black. I felt like if I used black, it would be too dark of a value, and it would contrast too much between all of the other parts of the painting, since nothing else is really that dark. So there's no black in the painting. Everything's a lighter value range, and that lets me work that blue through the entire piece more cohesively. Once I had the outline in, I went in and I did a warm underpainting over the entire space. The Advocacy Center uses a seafoam color throughout the entire space, and I wanted to keep that for the negative space around the painting. That way it would be easy for touch-ups later when the children use the space if they accidentally bump the walls or something. Next, I went in and I added a few deeper values to my underpainting, some darker browns, and gave it a bit more of a directional light source. I also used some white to scumble in some areas for lighter values and for bright highlights. And then I get to begin glazing with color layers on the top. This mural is painted with Golden Paintworks Mural and Scenic Paints and Golden Medium. I love Golden brand paints, and I use them through a lot of my work. I glazed mostly with larger brushes in this piece, and I maintained my brush marks so that it would build up a rich and complex surface with subtle brushwork that would indicate some texture and volume. I used a generous amount of transparent medium on these layers so that I could achieve this look, and you would be able to see all the work that I did in the underpainting through the glaze layers on the top. This indirect glazing technique is the same type of process that I use in my fine art paintings, and it allows me to create a very deep and jewel-like lustrous surface despite being painted on drywall. I did break out the airbrush for the rainbow. I wanted everything to have some really nice and soft edges and transitions. But ultimately, after I finished painting it, I felt that the color was actually a bit too intense and it was a little too vibrant. And so I applied a very thin, transparent whitewash over the top to tone it back down and blend it with the rest of the painting so that it would have a more cohesive tonality and it would appear to sit a little bit further back in the atmospheric portion of the painting, a little bit further back in space with some atmosphere in front of it. For the airbrush, I use Golden Brand medium paint, airbrush paint, and I use their fluid acrylics in the airbrush as well. I've never had to filter or strain their paint. It's always so nice. I just pour it right in there. I really wanted everything overall to feel like early morning, like the dew had just lifted and the sun had just peeked over the tree line, and it was a fresh, crisp, cool beginning of a day. So, another factor that I really enjoyed, which was a choice of the client, was the quote, an excerpt from Maya Angelou's poem, "Still I Rise." Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hopes springing high, still I'll rise. She and her work are profoundly powerful and inspirational, and it was the perfect choice for this space. After everything was finished up, I gave all of the painting 3 coats of Montana Mural protection varnish as the top coat. It's a waterborne varnish. The matte finish matched the existing wall finish really well, and the final result was a really nice unified surface that I was very pleased with. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Remember, if you'd like to know more about the Children's Treehouse and how you can support them, please visit their website at twincedars.org or scroll to the link at the bottom of my video. If you have an interest in more of my work, please like, subscribe, and check out more of my work at CannonArts.com. Thanks so much.